Call the regular meeting for the Village of Tinley Park Plan Commission to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Secretary, please take roll call.
Commissioner Gaskell,
Present.
Commissioner Gatto,
Acting Chair Gatto is here.
Commissioner Hamilton,
Here.
Commissioner Manning,
Present.
Commissioner Merrick,
Here.
Commissioner Shaw, Commissioner Tibbetts,
Here.
Commissioner Truxell,
Here.
Chairman Gray.
Staff, are there any communications?
Yeah, just a thank you, Commissioner Gatto, for being acting chair today and stepping in again. Also, the Tinley Park Plaza Brixmore Phase 2 development that's been on the agenda and continued a few times, as well as the 6627 173rd Street Place duplex conversion. Those two agenda items have been taken off the agenda. So when they resubmit and have a complete resubmittal, we'll need to republish and they'll end up back on the agenda. But for now, they've been taken off instead of just continuing them indefinitely.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the July 21st, 2022 meeting?
So moved.
Second.
First by Commissioner Truxell, seconded by Commissioner Manning. All those in favor of approving the July 21st, 2022 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
The motion carried. Okay. The first item on the agenda is, this evening is a public hearing to consider recommending that the village board grant Catherine Whitman a substantial deviation from the Dunn Raven Place Unit 2 planned unit development with an exception from the zoning ordinance to allow all sunroom additions in the subdivision to be constructed without required first floor face brick located at the northeast corner of Centennial Drive and Centennial Circle in the R6 PD Medium Density Residential District, Dunn Raven Place Unit 2 PUD. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Commissioner Manning, seconded by Commissioner Tibbetts. All those in favor, a voice vote, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is carried. Before we proceed, I would like to note that I have received certification of the public hearing notice as being published in the local newspaper as required by state law. Anyone wishing to speak on the matter will be sworn in before they speak, but after the staff's presentation. Staff, if you could proceed with your presentation at this time.
Thank you, Acting Chair. So this development is the Dunraven Place Phase 2. Our petitioner is Catherine Whitman, owner at one of the unit addresses in that development at 6862 Michael's Circle. So on the aerial here, you can see highlighted in blue is the extent of the Phase 2. And to the west of that is the Phase 1. So the Dunraven Place PUD has two phases in 1999 for Phase 1, which is encompassed by Centennial Circle, formerly the northwest corner of Centennial Circle and Centennial Drive, and Phase 2 at the northeast. So this development was from 2001. The petitioner has received a letter of agreement from the Homeowners Association regarding her proposal. And I will show here a little bit more detail of what the extent of the development is. So to be clear, for this petition request, it's for the 26 units here in Phase 2. So you can see that outlined in red. It's townhomes, 2 per building. It consists of Michael's Circle and St. John's Circle, so 8 buildings on one, 5 on the other. Some of the characteristics of the site is that it has some mature trees along Centennial Drive, as well as some landscaping in the common areas between the buildings. And there are 2 existing sunrooms that are located to the north on John's Circle. So here is part of the plat of subdivision. So the subdivision plat was done in 2 different phases. So this is the phase 2. Phase 1 has substantially the same type of architecture. It's under a different HOA. It's not part of this petition. But here again, you can see the layout of phase 2. So here's an image of what you see. The majority of the homes are oriented along the 2 circles that we have here. And as far as the zoning, so within this planned development, the underlying district is the R6 medium density. And as far as the surrounding uses and areas to the west is also R6. That's the phase 1 of Dunraven. To the south are multifamily properties zoned in R7. And to the east and north is commercial. So you have Menards right up to the north. To the east are a few developments, and this is just to the north of Village Hall here. On the west side of Oak Park Avenue, we have a multi-tenant commercial center, largely with medical offices, CTF Development Center, kinder care, and salon suites. So a bit of the code background. This development has masonry, largely on the first floor, which is part of the requirements we have here in the village. Masonry requirements on the first floor for residential have been around for a number of decades to help ensure a high level of aesthetics. And our zoning code now houses that code requirement, which I have up on screen. It's also noted in the staff report. We've noted that previous variations really have been looked at in approval for areas that were really under older areas, and had neighborhoods with kind of varied material types. So the proposal, Ms. Whitman would like to convert majority of her existing concrete patio, which is part of the rear recessed area on her home, and would like to do a 1-story addition. We've noted in the staff report that it's less a 1.5-foot depth. It's because it turns out that the patio encroaches slightly onto the lot line, so she's looking to go right to the edge with that. The proposal is coming here because mainly it does not meet the masonry code requirements. So you can see the plat of survey here. As per the architectural drawings, it is a 12.5 by 11 3.5 type of addition that has 3 facades. So you can see that highlighted in green with a landscaped common area beyond it. Here are the architectural images, also as noted in the staff report. I've noted in red what the percentage of the glazing is. So on the 3 facades, the east, south, and west, they are respectively, from staff calculations based on the architectural drawings, 26.6%, on one, 28.3%, and then on the facade that has a sliding glass door, it's a bit greater at 40.2%. So the majority of the facades are of a solid opaque material. In this case, it's proposed as a vinyl lap siding. She wishes to do white as the color. So the windows have been specified as well as the dimensions of the door. And it's been referred to as a sunroom. Most sunrooms typically have more glazing. So that's one thing to keep in mind is the percentage of this glazing. Staff does have a concern that if individual units pursue individual variations in the future, the development risks inconsistency in aesthetics going forward. So with planned developments, you typically have a design and intent to have a consistent type of appearance. So, as part of the goals of the PUD. So it is another consideration to keep in mind. Staff had requested that instead of this individual variation, that a substantial deviation with exception to the zoning ordinance be sought. The exception is the fact that it does not meet the masonry code requirement. And importantly to note that only the approved design as proposed would be permitted going forward for the development. And per the letter received, it's understood that the HOA has approved this design. So to clarify about the nature of substantial deviations, as I said before about design and goals, their deviations are considered exceptions rather than variations. Exceptions are looked at terms in their conformance to the overall PUD's design and goals. So for us, it's looking mostly at the architecture of what's out there, how consistent it is throughout the development. So I have on screen some of the relevant standards. So these are from the staff report about things about looking at the compatibility of the architecture, the durability of the proposed materials, the overall cohesive building design. These are highly helpful standards. There are no specific standards that we have concerning the architectural design other than looking at things like percentage of masonry or glazing. So it's important to look at what is out there in the development. So you consider the architecture, you consider the quality of the material. You wouldn't want something that would degrade over time or detract from the neighborhood or reduce values to the properties. You don't want it to be incongruent and not fit in with what's there. Consider the materials. By complying with code, that would be brick. There are other high-quality materials out there, like fiber cement board, brand commonly known as hardy board, or else matching existing sunrooms. So the vinyl is, in general in the industry, not really recognized comparatively to the other types of materials out there as a high-quality or durable material. As the existing architecture is present, there is some vinyl, but it's really as accents, up by the roof gable and above the garage doors on the development. As far as colors, white is very prevalent with accents to the varied reddish tones of brick that you have on the facades. You see the white is accented in the trim of the windows, the undersides of the eaves, the columns, the entryway, etc. There's stairs in the back of some of these units, and there's a few different shades of like a dark reddish brown that you'd see. So also, staff has worked with the petitioner to understand the nature of a request over time, and has inquired and suggested about using alternative materials and colors. So here's an image of how you'd see the facades. So again, a triangular area in the upper edge of each unit, and over the garage is where you have some vinyl siding, gray shingles, like I said, the white accents, and red brick.
Do we have any pictures of other room additions like this?
In the staff report, we do have the images of the two existing sunrooms.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll be showing that in just a moment. So you can see overall there's a consistency in the materials, this design here in this development has the same type of gables and massing, and this is what we see in the Phase 2 development. Please note that on the west side of Centennial Circle, we have the Phase 1, which has largely the same type of design. The configuration of units is a little different, but generally same type of materials, though Phase 1 is not part of this request. So here are the images of the two other sunrooms that exist. So the two properties are next door to each other on John's Circle. So you can see the first one, the two images at the top are the first property, the two images at the bottom are the second. So you see that the windows are really, for the most part, maximized. The one on the top does have like a low, almost knee wall with some paneling. The one on the bottom maximizes the extent of the windows a bit further. The Phase 1 development does have some sunrooms that also tend to maximize the glazing like this. So, staff had suggested before the petitioner to consider matching existing designs. The petitioner wishes to proceed with this request as, it's less glazing to look into maintaining. So that concludes the presentation of the proposal here. I have on the screen, as well as in the report, some items that you'd like to distill the consideration points that would be possibly key to talking amongst yourselves. So looking at whether the future sunroom additions would be appropriate and compatible for this development, whether it's cohesive to the existing building design, compatibility to these two previously approved sunrooms, those date from 2013, and design elements like the percentage of the glazing and the exterior materials. So I have the petitioners, Ms. Whitman here, as well as the president of the Homeowners Association, Mr. Mayor, as well.
Okay. All right, commissioners. I'm going to start with Mr. Gaskell.
Well, I have several problems with this whole thing. First of all, you call it a sunroom. It's nothing more than a room addition. It's not a sunroom. Sunrooms, windows, lots of windows. This is 3 windows and a door. 4 windows and a door. But in any case, I don't think that would even remotely fit in the area. It doesn't match anything. It just, again, it's just a room addition. That's all.
Commissioner Truxell?
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with the staff report and the staff recommendations. The white vinyl siding addition on this would not be consistent with the overall construction of the buildings, that specific building and all the buildings in the area and that development. The other sunrooms had a better look simply because of the amount of glazing that they had. So I'm trying to look at the dimensions of this addition that's going on. How deep is that? I'm trying to catch the depth of this thing. Those other sunrooms stuck out, probably another 6 to 8 feet. How deep is this one?
12 by 11.
So it's 12 and a half by 11 and 3.5. And the side on
The patio is 6 feet, it looks like, right? So this would protrude another 6 feet out. Yeah,
Right.
6 feet, there we go, like 6 feet out. Yeah, it's, I would stick with the brick requirement, or with the existing type of sunrooms that have already been permitted. That's where I'm at with this one.
Okay. Commissioner Merrick?
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. I'm in agreement on both of those.
Okay.
Either the bricks or addition of more glazing.
Okay. Commissioner Manning?
Yeah, I concur with the other commissioners as well. It's not really a sunroom per se, if that's what we're looking after. But for materiality, I think, durable versus siding, cement board, something,
Yeah.
I know, our current times, everything's, cost more, so laying brick is more labor intensive than,
A hardy back.
laying out, a nice cement board, hardy board, if you will, But yes, but it has to have, more of that sunroom feel versus a room. That's all my comments.
Okay. Commissioner Tibbetts?
I would really like to know the thought process behind the design that is shown here as opposed to the other sunroom designs. How did they come up with that design, knowing that, the other sunrooms are mostly glass? So that would be helpful in some of the decision-making process, but I'm also in line with the other commissioners as it relates to what they're stating.
Okay. Commissioner Hamilton?
It almost looks to me like it's a mud room. Got the big door and an enclosed space to maybe take boots and things off, I'm not sure. But this plan was approved by the homeowners association. Yeah, so the people who are in the immediate area seem to be okay with that plan. I understand the need for durability, but it looks all right to me. It doesn't look like it would violate the general look of the area. So I would tend to be in agreement with it.
Okay. I have to agree with the commissioners. I think as an association, I was part of association for 15 years, and most of the time they want consistency when it's a townhouse or a condo or something of that sort, because they want everything to look uniform. So the other two units are very similar with their sunrooms, and I agree with the fact that I think they should all be consistent. And the plans that we're looking at, it looks like it's just like an add-on room at the back of the house. It doesn't look like a sunroom. So, I would think either one of these two designs would be acceptable. And then how the one has the bottom, I don't know if that was hardy backboard down at the bottom of the one that's got the casing where it's not all windows. It's vinyl. So as a homeowner myself, I know that hardy backboard is gonna last longer than vinyl, and I don't wanna maintain anything. So I'm gonna pick a product that over the long run of time is gonna last me longer, that I don't have to put money into. So that's something to consider. I mean, as a homeowner individually, if you plan on being there 25 years, I don't know. But I'd have to agree. I just think that these other two looks are, to me, look way better than just the structure that you're presenting. And that's all I have. Anybody else want to add anything, or? No? Okay. Is anyone from the audience wishing to testify? Do you want to talk? Yep, okay. If you could sign in the book there and state your name. Oh, the pen's not working?
I get it. Thanks.
Can you state your name?
My name is Catherine Whitman.
Okay. Ms. Whitman, do you swear that the evidence that you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. All right, go ahead. You
Well,
can go
I'm
for it.
just kind of, I've lived in Tinley Park for 45 years. And I just feel like this is my townhouse. It's my property. I'm not building something shabby. It's going to cost me over $25,000. I don't understand how the other, I mean, I've gone through so much. I started this a year ago last May. And I've gone through so much with this, and I just feel like the village should not tell me what I like. The reason I don't like the big windows, I'm 77 years old and I'm short and I can't get up there to wash them. So that's the only reason I got the smaller windows, because they pop out and I can keep them clean. As far as when I look at theirs, I feel like they're in a fishbowl. There's no privacy at all in the room. But that's my personal opinion, and, you guys do what you do, but I'm not happy about it, that's for sure.
Commissioners, do you have anything further to discuss?
I mean, I raised 3 kids here, and I got a fireman's son, and we've been a part of this village for most of our lives. And plus, they made me pay $250 to not have the bricks. Do I get that back now that you're not gonna let me do it?
I mean, it's an application fee, so it goes to the legal
That
notice
was not what I was told. I was told it was for the exception.
to apply for it, yeah. So there's legal notices and everything that goes out to part of the request.
Okay.
But I don't know, that the commission and you can, if there's any alternatives or anything you guys want to discuss, I think they're usually open to hearing alternatives if there's anything.
Well,
else.
basically what you're saying is if I make it all glass like the other ones, or at least like Ray's, with the one with the vinyl on the bottom, that'll be okay? Mm-hmm. And then are you guys gonna come over and help me wash windows? I didn't think so. Okay.
You have a fireman's son.
Yeah. He's got a lot of
Yeah,
letters.
he's got a lot of letters.
So I guess my recommendation would be, and it's somewhat up to you too, if you're willing to revise the request to something, what I'm getting is a little bit like they'd like to see a change up here. If you'd just rather have them vote on what you presented, they can do that too. So if you're open to changing it, we can maybe continue the public hearing to the next meeting if you want to think about it. And we can maybe continue it, see where she's at.
Would the staff be more open to half brick on the addition? Would that be a consideration instead of all brick?
It would, I guess, depend how it kind of blends in.
Yeah. I think that's what we're looking at here, is the amount of vinyl, it looks, it stands out too much, I think, in the consistency of the construction in that area.
Well, you're working with a contractor, obviously, to build this on your home. So my recommendation to you would be to go back with the contractor and try and increase maybe some of the window sizes to make it more of a sunroom type of room. You know, they can still be low, but increase the windows so that maybe you can put shades or something like that to maintain your privacy. But also make it appear more as a sunroom. And then, you know, with that window increase, maybe you can think about.
more than what I already had.
Well, yeah,
Which I have no problem with, I just didn't think there was really enough room, because the one wall from the house comes out, over half of the way, so you only got 1.5 walls there.
your contractor will be able to work some magic for you, I'm sure. But think about maybe going back to the contractor doing that. And then you may save some money using a hardy board in lieu of the vinyl, because the hardy board's a little bit wider, and it might give you a little bit more consistent
Well,
look.
the only reason I said
So-
white vinyl is because that's what's on the rest of the house,
Mhm.
and that's what's on the other two, I don't really care.
Okay.
I just didn't and it wasn't even the cost of the brick, it was, I don't think I liked the way it looked.
Well, maybe with the increase in the window size, you'll reduce the amount of vinyl. You know,
And then another, I guess,
It's
comment
just-
too is
it's
what
an
we were
option.
thinking was color too, is
Yeah.
white is on the front in use, but it's kind of really in stark contrast with the brick that's on these. So
Mhm.
maybe a red or a brown or
Yeah.
a tan or something like that kind of blends in with the
I wouldn't
brick a
recommend
little
brick at
more.
all, then. Basically, your sunroom is, okay, so if you get a sunroom and you have another person that moves into your house, you sell it, that person can take that sunroom and remove it from your house, and they still have the house. It's an addition that's removable. So it's not like, you know, the next homeowner can come in and tear it out and not really damage your existing home. So the brick wouldn't hold anyway. It's not stout enough for that.
Would you like to speak?
Yes, my name
Okay.
is Mike Whitman.
Okay. Mike, Do you swear or affirm that the evidence that you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, please
So,
proceed.
just reiterating a little bit what she said, okay? She's been doing this for well over a year. And the runaround from the village for a person that's worked for the village for 33 years is very disheartening. When a village employee comes to her house and insinuates that she can afford to put the brick on the house is very unprofessional. I don't think that what she's looking to do is that big of a deal. You know, somebody made a comment about just it being a mudroom. It's not a mudroom, okay? It's gonna be a room that she's gonna spend time in. She's putting carpet in the inside. She's spending money as a retired person to make something look nice. Based on the fact that she doesn't like the big windows and all that, I don't think that that should waver your decision. There's white vinyl on everything that's over there. She's not hiring somebody, she's hiring somebody that's licensed and bonded in the village. She's hiring licensed and bonded electricians. She's following everything you guys want her to do, and the village has done nothing but give her a runaround for well over a year. It was excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse on what she needed to do, what she didn't need to do, and it's just very disheartening, you know, to see her, and she's taking her retirement and trying to better her house. It's her house. It'd be the same thing as if somebody going to you and telling you that you can't do something at your house. That's all. Thank you.
Excuse me. Did they have, when she was going through this ritual, did they happen to tell her that this was against the code?
At first, it was yes, and then it was no, and then they said that they could work on it, and then they would do this. She started with Walter Smart, then she went to Mr. Ritter, and then she went to this young lady. So she's dealt with everybody within it. And I even made phone calls to try and find out exactly what she needed to do so that we didn't have to keep doing this. It was more of just a runaround in a big circle. And every time she got to somebody new, when she started with Mr. Smart, he told her that she had to do A, B, and C. When she got to Mr. Ritter, he had to do something else, and then he left because he had a child. Congratulations. And then it got to this young lady, and then it was something else. So it was more just the runaround, Jim, and the headaches of, everything that she had to go through when she was following everything that she was originally told.
Well, I've been on this board for more than a year.
Yeah, I know.
And I haven't heard about this addition once.
Because it's never gotten to this point. This is the first time that it's gotten to this point because of the runaround from it. Not from you guys, but from the individuals that work within the village in their department. You go through three different individuals to do a project within a year, and each one gives her a different situation or a different story, and now we're at where we're at, I think that the decision that you guys are going based off of with the windows and all that, I think it's the wrong decision. Again, that's my opinion. I don't think that what she's putting up is gonna look any different, Yeah, it's gonna be a little taller on the bottom, and it's gonna give her a little bit more privacy. It's not a mudroom. It's a small addition.
It's a room addition.
Yeah, and they told her that she had to cut 1.5 feet off of the back of the patio.
Yeah, it's a room addition. I don't see it as a sunroom.
Okay, well, call it as you will.
Yeah.
But she was told she had to cut 1.5 feet off the back of the patio.
It goes off of the property.
Right.
You can't build a
So,
building off.
right, so
That was
we're-
one of the issues we had to work through.
Okay, so we got that resolved. So we're taking 1.5 feet off of the back of the, because one of you guys was asking about how far out it went. It's coming off 1.5 feet off the end of the patio. So,
Yep.
that's all I got. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. I think that maybe the confusion, when the petitioner filled out the application and provided the drawings is, calling it a sunroom. And then everyone, when I define sunroom, it's, all glass and such.
Yeah.
But if you just want to do an addition to it,
Yeah.
and then, it should just be called room, room addition, and that's that. So that's why, when I looked at this, and it was, it's not sunroom. As many as the other commissioners mentioned, we'll make the
Sure.
windows wider, but if you're vision is to do an addition and have the windows you have on those plans, then I think you have to then, I guess, like revise, the application and say, I want to do an addition, again, get the approval from your HOA, because, okay, it's an addition, not a sunroom,
So
I mean,
there
again,
is
it's just
no
the way, how I interpret it, I'm not, if everyone feels the same or not, but when I look at,
house in Tinley for 42 years, and I had what I called on the back a sunroom, but it was cedar siding, well, then we changed it to vinyl because the birds kept putting holes in it. But it had windows, and it came up maybe that high before the windows, and I always called it a sunroom, so that's
Right.
what I call it.
right, okay, I understand, because I have, my home has a sunroom, but I think I have 11 windows, there's very little, solid wall, so mine is a total sunroom, because,
And by definition, there's no difference, so whether it's a sunroom, an addition, no matter what, it's a building addition, right? So you can take a sunroom and make it a bedroom. There is no definition separation of how much windows there is or not. So it's being referred to as a sunroom, but it is no different than an addition.
Okay.
So,
It won't be a year-round room because I'm not putting.
sure, so it's just how you use it in that time, right? But that can change, so.
Considered a free
A-
season.
Anything that's an addition, and that includes single-family homes, it includes townhomes. If you do an addition, it has to be matching material to the building. And that's to keep it so you don't look like you get kind of tacked on addition. The exception is we discount glazing. So if you do a sunroom that's truly almost all glazing, and you do kind of a brick base or something, we can permit those. So that's where the sunrooms kind of come in, is people think sunrooms are okay, but it's still an addition, no different than any other one.
So on a normal sunroom that would come off of a house that somebody adds on as an addition, that we don't have to have that percentage amount for the brick at the bottom? You could do a hardy backboard or something of that sort, or you have to file a,
It would depend what the material of the house is. It's supposed to be matching, like if you actually had a wall, it's supposed to be matching brick. I don't know if that was always enforced. There's some out there I know that exist that don't do that, but it's supposed to be matching material. And that's been our code since the 70s, and that includes, again, single-family homes, apartments, townhomes, duplexes. It's kind of consistent across the board there.
right, well,
And
I
and
think,
the exceptions have been, if
Right,
somebody
but
comes
doing-
forward with the sunroom, it's been seen as, okay, if you have a lot of glazing, that kind of ties in.
ties it
a
together.
little
yeah.
better.
but
Okay,
even doing a hardy board still matches, there's still those type of elements in this architecture. So I don't think it's, you're bringing something, you're not bringing some metal panel, gray, whatever, then it's like, what are you doing? But if it was, windows, a nice hardy board, the entirety of the wall,
I can have a problem with
It
hardy
ties
board.
in,
I
yeah.
don't know what hardy board is. That's why I chose white vinyl, because that's what's on the rest of the house.
Right, just hardy board is, just imagine, piece of rectangular piece of material that's more, more high quality, and it kind of looks like vinyl, it has that, that pattern, the repetition,
Oh, okay.
but it's,
Just cement.
it's a better quality, material, it lasts long.
I'm just
That,
trying to
that I agree with,
Match the other buildings.
right, but to have to be brick, that's where
yeah.
I don't agree with.
In the original, so the reason why we're here and it is a little bit different is, right, the end goal is there's 26 in your HOA, right, there's another 30-something in the first phase. The goal is not to have 50 different rear additions out here, right? So that's why this is a PUD, which is a planned unit development. The goal of that was to keep some consistency across it. So our goal is not to be difficult, but if somebody else moved in here and you start getting something you didn't really buy into, you'd also be mad, right? If your neighbor starts doing something that kind of you think detracts from it. So that's really the goal, and that's why this process is here, is if you're gonna change what the original plan was, you have to go through a little, because the original plan had to go through all this, and they said, hey, we're building this, there's gonna be patios out there won't be any sunrooms. Now, if somebody who buys into it says, I want a sunroom, you have to go back and kind of change it for everyone.
But the first two that built the sunrooms, they didn't have to pay that $250 fee.
It was less than, it was 150, but yes, they went through this exact same process.
Oh, they're telling me they didn't.
We have staff reports, I have ordinances from it, they went through the exact same process. But it was less of a fee at
Well,
that point.
they originally told me I had to pay $500, and the people before me didn't have to pay for it, and the people after me don't have to pay for it. So I was furious, we were out of the but I just-
And I've been working with you for the year on this, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think I've been consistent saying what the code is and what
But I thought
could be.
that's what we finally agreed on.
Not that it met the code, you still had to go through this process, and it was ultimately, how does it look? And that's where we're at, so.
Okay.
Ma'am, did you want to speak? What was your name?
My name is Joy Smith.
Okay, Ms. Smith, do you swear to the evidence that you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a little interesting being here. I served on a board in my community for over 30 years on the community board of directors. But I stood to say that I appreciate the process that's going on here. And I only rose to when Kay mentioned that, first of all, I should say I live directly across from Ms. Whitman in Michael's Circle. I've been there almost 11 years. And every morning in the summertime when I come out to water my flowers, and I see Kay sitting in the garage getting her sun. Every morning she's out. She spends a lot of time sitting, getting fresh air and what have you in her garage. And so when she called it a sunroom, I just wanted to attest to the fact that she likes to be able to get some sun. I'm sure your window's open in your design. And I just wanted to attest to the fact that every morning when I come out to water my flowers, that I see her sitting in the garage with the garage door open. And I do appreciate the consistency of the subdivision that we're in. And I appreciate that it's given a lot of attention. And I do, understand that there are certain things that have to be adhered to, but you are suggesting, from what I understand, that it's not impossible for her to do this. It's just with some alterations.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't see you sitting and get to speak to you then. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak at this time? Commissioners, do you have anything else you want to add?
Well, I think if it's between voting and holding on this until there's adjustments that would add more glazing, I'd rather do the latter, if she's amenable.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think that with going back to the contractor and looking at what you can do with the windows, nix the brick, and then bigger window size, I would even be okay with the amount of vinyl that you have on this room, only because it meets what's in the front of the house. And you said that other people have vinyl on the other homes, so it would be consistent with them. So if we asked you to put a hardy board or brick or anything like that, it wouldn't be consistent. So I think that we do continue this based on maybe a revision that you can do so that we can get you moving in the right direction. And it could, I don't know how long it takes to do the revisions, but, I think it'd be well worth it.
We've met once with, I believe, all your contractors, and we had our building official in there, so we'd be glad to do that again and kind of try and work through our building officials and architect too, so he can maybe help guide them into
Yeah.
how you make that work from a construction standpoint, because I don't know how you make, if you elongate those windows, how you secure them and get them built in there.
Let's help her
But
out.
He's very helpful with that.
Yeah.
So we'd be glad to meet, try and make some adjustments here that maybe fit what your recommendations are. So I'll leave it up to Kay if she wants to. Sometimes petitioners go, no, this is what I really want, and I'd rather have this voted on, but we can kind of leave it. Sounds like they want to leave it up to you to say, do you want to look at making some adjustments?
Well, I don't have a problem with making adjustments, but I just feel like I'm spinning my wheels. Someplace along the line, we have to say, okay, this is it, that's fine.
Yeah.
This
And-
is my house. I'm paying for it, not the rest of these I can. And it's not cheap.
Lori, could you scroll back to the front of the buildings?
When I bought this place,
Right,
that was
well,
one of
this
the
is good.
things I asked before I ever signed the dotted line. Can I build a sunroom? And they said, yes.
The real estate agents will always tell you that. They will tell you you can build it 20 stories tall too, right? Like, and that's the one hurdle we definitely worked with Jan, and I think Mr. Mayor was helpful too in understanding that, originally you wanted to go the full width of the patio, but we can't have buildings go over property lines. So we got through, that was one big hurdle that was already resolved, that you were able to change. So I think just with a few more tweaks here, if we can get a little bit bigger windows, just look and either check out hardy board, check out vinyl, what kind of looks the best. We can maybe get to something that the commission and the village boards can be a little more comfortable with. So I know it's a little more time, but we're here. We're in the process where it could get approved, and if we could get it to the board and approved, the day after that, we could get a permit out, right? So we just gotta get to that.
Can I say something? When we look at the front of these buildings and stuff, there's no vinyl in the front of in front of the buildings except on the peak area on the gable end. That's all. All the first floor is all brick.
Yeah.
And that's what they're calling for on the room additions in the back. Brick.
But the other ones don't have them, so why do I have to?
But we're discussing that though. What I'm saying is they don't have any vinyl, other than that one strip on the bottom of that other one. That could be hardy board, that could be brick.
Yeah, I think it's just a
The whole
2-foot
point of
panel.
this operation
Just a
here is compromise. We have to come up with something that everybody's gonna be happy with. Not everybody's gonna be happy with, the majority of people will be happy with. That's what we gotta come up with.
And the goal is to have one that can be carried forward, right? So anybody else going forward wants to do this?
Yeah.
I'm looking at those
Yeah.
We'll
first
match.
pictures. And you've got vinyl on the top, down the middle, on the bottom. I mean, I don't have that. When you put the glass, my sliding door in there, and then the two windows, there's not room for much more. But I mean, I will talk to the builder but as you can see, they've got vinyl and it is white vinyl, because I know.
Well, you're talking,
And I don't care. I mean, I will put hardy board on there. That's not a problem at all.
it's just the posts that are holding up the roof that is vinyl. And the windows, that's all vinyl.
And the first picture, all along the bottom.
Well, yeah, okay, all along the bottom. Like I said,
And at the top, because their windows don't go up to the roof.
Well,
same
and-
as the front of your building. That would be considered like the gable end of the building, and that's vinyl, it's just like it is in the front.
even if you were to offer these two options, the top option has less window open than the bottom. I personally would pick the top. That's what I would go with. I think if you had two options for people to choose in that area, and you say you have this option or this option, you could do all windows, or you could do that 2 foot of whether it's siding or hardy board at the bottom and then the windows up.
And that's certainly, that's kind of where we're going.
Yeah.
We're not necessarily saying it has to be these ones, right?
Right.
We're saying if they're gonna
Something
do
that looks
something
like
different, let's
Yeah.
look at how to make it.
Yeah.
But the goal being, and the reason why we had her, originally she was gonna come in just for her unit. My recommendation was ask for it for the entire PUD, because then you're asking for some level of consistency there.
Yeah.
But what she'd be asking for is really a second one to be permitted out there for at least two options, but,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's not too bad, right? It can be fairly consistent. If you had 20 options,
Yeah.
what we don't want is 50 different additions.
I mean, a lot of,
Even 20's a lot.
yeah. I mean, a lot of townhouses, what they do, like when you have decks, you know, you'll notice in the area, like I know Steeple Run, they have two options of decks that the association put out there that you could choose. You could either choose this option for your deck or this option for your deck. You could either stain it gray or you could keep it as the natural wood. Like a lot of associations, that's what they build into the bylaws. That's why I don't understand why nothing was built into the bylaws from the association to begin with. I mean, that's odd to me.
They probably didn't because none of them were permitted.
Or permitted at all.
So
Okay.
from the start, there was none, it was just these patios coming. in.
Yeah.
So the original plan for this was you didn't get
Well, a
a
lot of
sun.
the houses they're built up higher, so they have a porch. So some of them have patios and some of them have the porch. Now, the people with the porches have enclosed them as well. On the other side. In phase one, they've enclosed, as you go down Centennial Drive, there's 2 or 3 houses right in a row that are all enclosed. They put windows around them, enclosed them, and made, my version, sunrooms out of them.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure the history, I guess, on those or what they are. or if
Yeah,
they got
that's from
permits,
phase
but-
one, that's why I never brought that into our conversation.
Yeah.
But the people behind me, they all have porches, they don't have the patios. Our side of the street has the patio, of the yard has the patio, theirs has the porches.
Yeah.
Now, the woman next door to me, she wants to enclose hers, but she said, not until you're done fighting with them, I wouldn't go through all this.
So how do we proceed?
Okay, so
for
what do you
the
want me to
first
do, Dan? Should we,
Well, if she's open, I mean, we can continue it, work on something maybe a little different than this,
Okay.
taking into account your opinion. I would probably recommend 2 meetings from now, because the packet for the next meeting's gotta go out a week from now, so, if we need a little more time than that, I think, to
Okay.
work with the builder to make a few adjustments, and then hopefully send it back to you guys, so. If you're open to it, we can continue maybe September 1st is the first meeting, and we can work with them in that time to tweak
Okay.
this with your
Okay.
guys' feedback.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Differences to make at this point. Another year will go by.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to extend this to the September 1st meeting.
Second.
Well,
No.
somebody would need to make that
Oh,
motion.
Oh, I thought she just did.
No, I don't think I can. I can't,
Oh,
sorry.
Okay, I make a motion to extend it to September 1st.
A second.
Made by Commissioner Gaskell and seconded by Commissioner Tibbetts. Can I ask for a vote call?
Commissioner Gaskell.
Yes.
Acting Chair Gatto.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Yes.
Commissioner Manning.
Yes.
Commissioner Merrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Tibbetts.
Yes.
Commissioner Truxell.
Yes.
Me or Lori can reach out to you. If you have your builder or whoever we had met with the one time, let's talk with them. We can get Mike.
Well, his license and bond had expired because it's been going on so long, so I don't know if he's gonna do it again or I've got someone else that's
Okay.
going to.
Yeah, whoever can design it, or we can talk with them about how it can get designed. We'll reach out to you either tomorrow or Monday at the latest, and let's set up a meeting for the next week or so.
All right,
Thank you.
we're done.
Yeah, you're welcome to stick around if you want, but
Okay, the second item on the agenda this evening is a public hearing to consider recommending that the village board grant Andrew Burke's property owner a side yard setback variation from section B.B, Schedule 2 of the zoning ordinance to permit the principal structure and construct an attached home addition sunroom for the property located at 17642 67th Avenue in the R3 Single Family Residential Zoning District. The requested 2.58 feet side yard setback variation will apply to the existing principal structure and allow the petitioner to construct a home addition sunroom located 5.42 feet from the side property line to the south, where the minimum required side setback is 8 feet. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Gaskell, seconded by Commissioner Truxell. Okay.
Can do a voice.
Can I get a voice vote? Everybody that agrees, say aye.
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 Okay, motion is carried. Before we proceed, I'd like to note that I have received certification of the public hearing notice as being published in the local newspaper as required by state law. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter will be sworn in before they speak, but after the staff's presentation. Staff, if you could please proceed with your presentation at this time.
Thank you, Acting Chair. So this property is located at the southeast area of 176, the Oak Park area. It is a conventional interior lot, 70 feet wide by 133.7 feet deep. It is only 9,539 square feet of lot area. This is a smaller lot in comparison to majority of lots in the area. Most of those, as you can see from the estimated parcel lines, are larger, a little bit wider, about 13,350 square feet is the typical area. And the subdivision, staff note on file, is Reuter and Company's Tinley Park Garden Subdivision. The property in the area was annexed 1929. The development of the area was around the 1950s. So regarding zoning, this area and its surrounding whole neighborhood is part of the R3, single-family residential. The R3 has minimum code requirements, so this lot is non-conforming in a few areas. The minimum lot area is 10,000 square feet. The lot width is 75, that's how wide it is, and frontage to the street, 75 feet, and 30-foot minimum rear yards, and 8-foot side yards for 16-foot total. So the property is non-conforming by being 641 square feet below the lot area, 5 feet below the lot width, and the side yards fall short as well. So in total, they are 5.11 feet below. So the property is shown here in a little bit more detail. The home itself, according to calculations from the plat of survey provided, is a single story, approximately 1,589 square feet. There is an existing attached covered patio that is on the property, which is not permitted. So the nature of the request is looking at this patio and the side yard setback to the south. There is, as you can see in the aerial, there's an outline of an above-ground pool, and below that a shed. The shed has since been removed, the pool has been developed, and as of last month, a raised deck was also included on the south side of the pool. So there's also a 6-foot privacy fence that runs on the south of the property line, or runs on the south, it appears to be on the property line. Plat of survey doesn't have all of these details, but it is helpful to know. So here's an image of the front of the house, as you can see from the street. And the petitioners provided a number of photos, as was included with the packet. So here you can see on the left is an image looking from the northwest, or being from the northwest looking southeast, sorry. And as well as images of the side yard area to the south. So there is an attached covered patio there currently. We need to get this into conformance. It's, by being there, it's not conforming to code. The petitioner would look at, when financially feasible in approximately 2 years, to convert that to an addition, a closed addition. Either way, because the patio is attached, it's serving as an addition at this point. So here's a summary of what I just explained, to allow for an attached covered structure with the ability to eventually enclose it. Petitioner wishes to align this with the existing home, that's the principal structure. It currently is aligned as such. So the petitioner estimates that enclosing this would be, again, when it's financially feasible. The request is to not only allow for the side yard setback to the addition, but also to the house. So the code requires 8 feet of a side yard setback. So the encroachment, as noted in the report and in the motion, is for a 2.58-foot side yard setback, and it would encroach, the setback variation from the code, and to it would encroach 2.58 to be set back 5.42 feet. Here are a couple of images the petitioners provided with the sunroom fully enclosed. So you can see on the right, the top image would be the south to the along the setback in question. The home itself is 26.9 feet long, so when you're thinking about the amount of mass that is encroaching into the area, there's that amount plus the proposed addition, which would be 40 feet. So their petitioners also noted there'll be eaves and gutters, but they won't project more than 3 feet into the side yard and not further than the existing gutters that are on the main home. The petitioners confirmed that it will be masonry compliant, so it will have a masonry and it will match the existing home. So with the request, the petitioner's reasoning is to align the home for aesthetic and functional reasons. This is to avoid an awkward appearance of it jogging in, to have the 26.9 feet and then to have to go in 2.58 feet to jog in, isn't really aesthetically pleasing and nor functional. To add living space also maximizes property sale, but he's clarified that this is not for an attempt for financial gain, just to enjoy usable space and improve the look. He noted that there's other home additions that are in the area, and the hardship is that the home is already non-conforming to it, so to align to that requires the setback to begin with. Staff notes this is an undersized property, and it's 5 feet less on the frontage, so the property owner is already dealing with very limited space. The building itself is a smaller footprint, less than 1,600 square feet, so in today's times, additions would be considered rather typical for homes of that size. And the area of the addition encroachment, because you're dealing with encroaching 2.58 feet and 40 feet of that, just for the addition alone, is only 103 square feet. So I've included also the images for the neighbor to the south. So that home at 6700 177th Street. You can see a couple of photos there. We don't have a plat of survey handy to see the exact distancing. It is presumed that the fence is on the white privacy fence for our subject property would likely be on the property line, and the distance between the roof eaves is measured from an aerial is about 21 feet. That also is an undersized single-story lot. That concludes the staff presentation. Our petitioner, Andy Burke, is here in the audience.
Okay. Any, I'm gonna start on this side, Manning, Commissioner Manning.
I'm okay with it, aligning it with the building, aesthetically, it makes perfect sense. I have no issues with it.
Okay, Commissioner Tibbetts?
No issues with it either.
Commissioner Hamilton?
Seems like a very large sunroom, though. Right? Very big, but no issues for me.
Okay, Commissioner Gaskell?
So am I right in understanding that the house itself is built
That's not a lot.
5.5 inches or 5.5 feet?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is?
Yes, the house existing is 5.42 feet from the lot line to the south.
How did that happen?
It goes.
Anyway.
But it's an older one, either older zoning code, or sometimes they're built in the county and then come in,
So are-
plus our zoning code setback.
Are there others like that?
What's that?
Are there other houses over
Yeah.
there like that?
Yes, even in this subdivision and in the older parts of town, like, so you go to,
Yeah.
we've had a few of these. Sometimes they're side yards, sometimes they're front yards, too. We've had people do additions on the front, and they don't want to set the addition back 2 feet, right? You get a really weird frontage. Same thing here.
Yeah, I get that. I understand that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it exists in older parts.
And it's going to be, the whole base of it's going to be brick to match the house, correct? Okay, that's good. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, I had the same question with Jim. How did that happen years ago?
I'll
And
call the planner from 1950.
Yeah, right.
I'll ask
Can you bring him back in, But the way it's aligning with the principal property, it's going to follow the sight lines, basically. The existing property of the main home, the material's great, the number of windows looks great, it's a real sunroom, it's going to look beautiful. So I had no problems with this one whatsoever.
Commissioner Merrick?
I have nothing additional to add.
I also don't have anything to add. Are you wishing to speak on the matter at all?
If you want me to. I can address the size thing, but,
I mean, it's up to you. If you want to, you can stand up and I can swear you in. Sign in the book.
my name's Andy Burks.
Mr. Burks, do you swear that the evidence that you are about to give will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, so just to, I know it's large. We have a very large family, especially on my wife's side, and we like to entertain. The house itself is too small to handle everybody. We've done several of those things in our backyard, and we've been hit with the weather as a problem consistently, so this is actually kind of our solution to that problem, is having a nice closed-in room in the back where we can host all of those people for whatever occasion, so. Yeah, the main thing is we want it to line up with the house. Moving it over, it would look weird, so.
Yeah, you're right,
I agree.
No, it's a great idea.
I was actually shocked when I started this process and I was told about the 5 feet, and someone in the office made the comment, well, if anything ever happened to your house, you wouldn't be able to rebuild it where it sits. I was floored.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
if there's an earthquake, tornado, God forbid, I'm gonna lose however many feet of my house if I want to rebuild it, or I have to come here and ask for it, so.
You'd probably have to make it a little more square than rectangle,
Right.
And we included that into this, so like if somebody's asking for something based on something that's not conforming, we obviously bring it in. So this is
Yeah.
gonna bring the existing home into conformance too.
Good.
So if it does burn down, the variation runs with the land, they don't have to change the foundation or anything.
Oh, good.
So
Good. That's good to know.
it does kind of, is a little proactive in taking care of that.
Yeah.
issue,
Perfect.
too.
So, thanks, you guys have been great, both Dan
Yeah,
and
good luck with it.
Lori,
It's
so
beautiful.
Yeah, it's a very nice addition.
Thank you.
We'll all be over when it's finished.
Got a pool now and everything. so.
Yeah.
If there are no further questions or discussion, then may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I make a motion.
Second.
Commissioner Gaskell first, and second, Commissioner Truxell. Can I ask for a voice vote?
You could do like a voice, all those in favor.
Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. May I have a motion regarding the variation? Can you put it up there?
Oh, if you want to go through the standards really
Oh,
quick.
oh,
All right.
okay, go ahead.
So I have on screen the standards that we consider for variations. The first is regarding reasonable return if permitted to be used only under the code. Staff's drafted response is, while an addition is not required, it is a typical improvement expected with homes today. The addition will help increase the property's functionality and value. The variation for the encroachment does not cause the property to yield additional return, as the structure could still be constructed elsewhere on the property. Number two, the plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances. The lot is undersized for the code requirements of lot area and lot frontage. The principal structure is already existing and at the required amount of encroachment. If the proposed addition were to meet code, it would not align with the existing principal structure's south elevation, creating an awkward appearance. Number three, regarding essential character, the neighborhood largely has older homes with varying setbacks. The existing principal structure appears to meet the essential character of the neighborhood. The proposed addition will be behind the existing principal structure, thus having minimal impact on the frontage to the neighborhood. And then I've also provided additional considerations which do not require drafted findings. These are all in the staff report. That includes the findings.
Okay, may I have a motion regarding the variation?
I make a motion to recommend that the village board grant Andrew Burke's property owner a 2.58-foot side yard setback variation from section 5B, Schedule 2 of the zoning ordinance to permit the principal structure and an attached patio structure to eventually be upgraded to an attached home addition sunroom, to be the setback 5.42 feet instead of the required 8 feet minimum at the property located at 176 42 67th Avenue in the R3 Single Family Residential Zoning District, in accordance with the plans and findings of fact as listed in the August 4th, 2022 staff report.
Second.
Commissioner Gaskell make the motion, and seconded by Commissioner Truxell. Lori, can you take a roll call, please?
Commissioner Gaskell.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Yes.
Commissioner Manny.
Yes.
Commissioner Merrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Tibbetts.
Yes.
Commissioner Truxell.
Yes.
Acting Chair Gatto.
Yes. Okay, the motion carried. This item will go to the village board on Tuesday, August 16th.
And Lori can follow up with you. We recommend going to those meetings with a unanimous vote. It would be decided there. There's usually not much discussion or anything like it was today. But we usually, same room, yeah. Times change sometimes though, so we'll follow up, yeah.
Good luck.
Okay. I don't think there's any public comment. Is there any public comment? Staff, do you have anything to present for the good of the order?
Just a quick catch-up here. The Loyola has gone vertical, so it's pretty substantial out there and noticeable if you're driving on LaGrange. So good to see that moving and flying. And sounds like construction, talking to Mike, our building official, has been going well. I think Commissioner Tibbetts was on the site last week. He took a little tour with our building commissioner. The Smoothie King has gone vertical as well, and they're moving on that on 159th and Oak Park. So I get my morning smoothies now on my way to work or walk there for lunch. Holiday Inn's exterior has been finishing up, so the exterior of that building kind of looks like it's supposed to now. And they're working on some of the site work and the interior built out for that as well. Delta Sonic has started as well on 159th and Oak Park Avenue. On their work for the site that was approved about a year ago. Lastly is the Murphy Olcott fence variation that was before you guys. It was recommended for denial. The board worked through that a lot, so even in first reading, they kind of supported it, kind of gave some suggestions for them to maybe work through it. What they did was end up amending the request and that ordinance to allow it to be 5-foot open design and to come out 5 feet from where the window was. So it gives them some functional space to kind of maintain it, but allows them to enclose that window. So not exactly, obviously, what they were requesting was all the way to the street, but gave them something, and obviously based on the kind of non-conforming setback, the non-conforming lot that was there, but allowing them to do kind of the minimal amount of a variation. So if you're gonna approve a variation, it's what's the least amount to get to the point. So the board approved that yesterday. And the next meeting is August 18th. I'm not sure if we'll have that one or not yet, but it might be canceled. But keep an eye out for the next couple days. But we do have more in the hopper, so September should be busy, October should be busy. And I think we have a public comment.
Yeah, how am I gonna follow that? I mean, I should sit back down, right? I'm not gonna be able to follow that kind of a routine. Yeah, my name is Bill Tasker, and I was a little bit late. I was coming from the western suburbs. I have a client who's got Lou Gehrig's disease, and, you know, the guy, I'm 55, this guy's 63, and it's kind of funny. I've known the guy for like 13 years. And he wouldn't let me leave. He kept saying, Bill, one more thing. And I'm like, Rock, I gotta go. But I mean, what am I gonna do? Say, I can't leave the guy high and dry. But anyway, so I think I maybe missed, I'm hoping I'm in the right spot, but wasn't there a hearing about the parcel across from, on 173rd for the duplex?
They ended up withdrawing it at this point, because we still didn't have the revised.
Okay, all right.
revised
Well,
plan.
then maybe
So
I could just.
They will be coming back.
Oh, okay, so maybe I can just bring it up. I mean, so that thing, and, you know, and I've owned a townhome there across the street, you know, the townhome, Fort Townhome. I mean, if you want to call it an association, I'm the president of that association, you know, the 4 units, but, you know, I call it the crack house. And, you know, you probably have seen it. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, but that thing just won't go away. It's like, you know, I don't even know if it's like the shingles virus, like a bad blemish, a rash that keeps popping up. But I don't know if you remember, 5-6 years ago, I remember I came home one time at 2 in the morning and it was on fire. Then I was like, hey, finally it's gonna be gone. And then like 6 months later, they're out there working on it. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And every now and then I see guys putting a blue tarp up there. I'm like, when is this thing gonna go away? And I talked to somebody, it may have been Dan here, about, well, why can't they just tear it down? It's like, well, as long as they pay their fee or whatever. I mean, you can't legally do it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't he paying $6,000 of property taxes like everybody else because it's a structure?
So that,
Roughly?
the reason why it's not in front of you today is the taxes weren't paid for the last year and a half. So
Okay.
if money is due on a property, we don't bring it forward.
Okay.
There was also some missing documents that we're getting together, so they're working on that right now, and then it could come before
Okay,
you.
but
actually-
basically though, if there's a structure on land, if someone's living there or not, I mean, it's gonna be whatever those taxes are, right?
Yep.
Okay, so it's at least $6,000, I'm assuming, right? So what happens, at what point can you guys just say, hey, tear that thing down? Because, I mean, that's pretty bad, it looks pretty bad. It looks like a crack house,
Yeah, so.
or a meth house. I mean, I don't know
So
if
they
there was
bought
some
it
Breaking
about a
Bad.
year, this group bought it about a year and a half ago. There was obviously.
Oh,
open-
a different group,
Yeah, this is about a year and a half ago. they
Okay.
Owned this.
Okay.
Or maybe it was late 2020 or something, they purchased this. So they purchased it with a bunch of open code violations. They worked with us to try and take care of some of the worst of it,
Okay.
with the understanding that they were gonna be doing some bigger projects. So this is them doing pretty substantial, full kind of gut. And I can take your contact information and kind of send you the plans if you haven't
Okay.
seen them.
Well, I've seen it, but I won't take up too much time, but just in 30 seconds, what exactly are they trying to do? Are they trying to put a driveway in the front and like, are they going farther back? Are they buying some other property in the back?
So it's an addition on the back of it, and
Okay.
then they're basically splitting it, so they'll have 2 units that are about 1,200 square feet apiece.
But they're gonna keep that existing piece?
Yeah.
Like, and
basically
that's not
work-
rotted out or gutted out? I mean, it
Some
doesn't
of
make
it
any
will need to
sense.
get replaced, like the roof obviously is
Yeah,
gone. So
yeah.
they have some substantial work, but it is cheaper to work with the existing foundation.
Okay,
essentially.
okay, yeah, that's interesting. So have you guys ever seen that, what I'm talking about? You guys should go,
I
Well-
reviewed the
yeah,
plan.
you should go. in the-
Yeah, it was
you should
supposed to
in
go
the-
in front of us, and
Yeah,
it,
take the Tinley
got
Park
postponed.
architectural tour. I mean, it'll be
What is
very
the address?
interesting. What's that?
Can you say what the address is?
Oh, it's like 100, what is it?
6627 173rd.
60 where?
6627 173.
173rd place. It's kind of right off the downtown.
Yeah, it's right by the train station, and there's that bar, the station, which is
Yeah,
probably a
sure.
front
I know which.
for, it's a money laundering bar. Nobody goes there, and that's been open for 10 years, so I'm like, nobody goes there, but it's always open, and I'm like, okay, once again, going back to Breaking Bad, right, or, you have to, it's called, you have to layer the money, you have to run it through something. I mean, something's going on in that area. I mean, you got a crack house, you got a front bar. It's almost as bad as Dendrino's, right? For Pete's sake. Anyway, that's another story, right? Has anyone ever been to Dendrino's, by any chance? I was there one time at 2 a.m. Holy cow. There's a guy, and I'll get out of here. There's a guy sitting there drinking Bud Lights, okay? It was about 3:30 in the morning. I was with a friend of mine, real pretty girl. I told her, I go, you're probably the best-looking girl that's ever walked into Dendrino's. So we're talking to this guy, and he's like, hey, so she's like, where are you going? What are you doing? It's like, well, I'm going to work. And so this guy's drinking Bud Light like water, one after the other. And this is getting to about 3:30. And she goes, oh yeah, so where do you work? And he goes, well, I start work at 5 in the morning. And she goes like, well, what do you do? And he goes, I'm a commercial electrician. So I go, hey, at least you're not doing anything where you could potentially burn down any property, right? And he starts laughing, but think about that. You're at a bar at 3:30 in the morning drinking Bud Light, and then you're gonna start working an hour and a half when you're a commercial electrician. It's the weirdest thing. I tell you, I've seen a lot of things around that area. But okay, yeah, do you wanna send me some stuff? That would be good.
Sure. If you want to give me your contact information,
Yeah.
I'll send you what they're working on.
That'd be good.
At the
Yeah,
end of
because
the
I
day,
didn't know it
it's
changed
not our-
hands.
We can't require somebody to tear it down, but there's obviously still code violations, so we haven't pursued them in court with the understanding they were gonna do something out there. And we just want something done to fix it, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're not doing a financial analysis of what's the best option for them.
Okay.
They bought it as an investment property, so they're looking duplex, and duplex is permitted there by right, so.
Okay, yeah, okay. Oh,
they're
yeah,
trying to do it.
one other question too. Is it legal to leave a garbage can out on the edge of your property on the street? Like, could you leave that there, or do you have to take it back in?
I think if there's a time limit where you have to bring it back in.
Okay, so
we
you
have a
mean
code enforcement
the new
officer.
guy who bought the end unit on the townhome project, he can't just leave his garbage can out there perpetually? I didn't think he could. So maybe, could you give me one of those like a yellow or orange stickers I could slap on his house or something?
I can get you in contact with our code enforcement officer.
No, but yeah, it's amazing though. Like, I don't want to like rat that guy out, but it's like, he already owes back dues. He's brand new. I don't even know who the guy is, I've talked to him, but he's leaving his garbage can out there the whole time. It's like, I want to be like, dude, come on, pay up and take your trash
If you
away.
want to write your email, actually.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, and then I'll follow up with you.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, well, thanks for listening, guys. I'll try to have some better stories next time.
Okay.
Some more
All right. Do you
positive
have anything
stories,
else,
how about
Dan?
that?
Nope. Next meeting, like I said, August 18th, we'll let you know if it gets canceled next week at some point.
Okay.
sorry, there is one more thing. We still want to do the training, so that got a little sidetracked with me, leaving on paternity leave. But I do want to still get that going, so look out for an email. It may be more like October, November now. And we'll do the Illinois APA chapter will come here and
Okay.
do a little walkthrough. Removes us from it, right, and it allows you guys to ask some questions that, and just kind of work through it, so.
Sounds good.
Oh, by the way, the young lady who was talking about the mudroom, I understand her point. Okay, it's her house, it's her property, but that looked like shit. The other ones up there were so much better. You know, just a little FYI, just a little outside opinion there. You guys were right. Anyway, thanks a lot.
Good night, sir.
I make a motion when you adjourn.
Okay.
Second,
Okay. Made by Commissioner Gaskell, seconded by Commissioner Truxell.
meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
Aye.